Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Okay, so today we're tackling something I find absolutely fascinating: the ultimate reality check for educational technology. Picture this for a second. You've just built this stunning, totally cutting-edge, AI-powered EdTech project to teach Korean culture. I mean, it looks gorgeous on your laptop. But what actually happens when that idealized prototype crashes headfirst into the messy, unpredictable reality of a real physical classroom? Well, today we are unpacking the exact evaluation criteria that educational experts use to field test these K-content projects. We're going to see how developers take their visionary ideas and basically toughen them up to survive in the real world.
All right, let's dive right in by flipping our mindset completely. When creators present their work to a panel of experts, teachers, cultural directors, product managers, it can be terrifying. But we really have to remember this quote: feedback is not criticism, but a process of completing it together. These experts aren't there to just tear your hard work to shreds. They're actually your co-creators. The most valuable feedback is usually the most uncomfortable, because honestly, that discomfort is exactly where the magic happens. You have to put on your feedback researcher hat and objectively figure out what the field actually needs from your tech.
So here's our game plan for today. 1. The real test in the educational field. 2. Criterion 1. Realistic tech implementation. 3. Criterion 2. Educational effectiveness. 4. Criterion 3. Cultural accuracy. And finally, 5. Crafting a successful refinement plan.
Okay, let's hit part 1, the real test in the educational field. What happens when digital dreams meet physical walls?
During these expert workshops, developers are handed scenario cards, and let me tell you, they are brutal. Imagine you're deploying your software in a local middle school, okay? There is only one single projector for the entire room. The kids? Absolutely not allowed to use their smartphones, and the clock is ticking. You have exactly 50 minutes. Experts literally call this the real Earth. It totally forces creators to stop asking, "Wow, isn't our content pretty?" and start desperately asking, "Wait, can we even turn this on in this room? Or what on earth is our offline backup if the Wi-Fi drops?"
Which brings us right to criterion number 1, realistic tech implementation.
This perfectly captures the disconnect we see all the time. Over on the developer's side, you have this incredible, cinematic, high-resolution, 3D animation of a traditional Korean ritual. It is a technical masterpiece. But then, you hit the field reality. The school's sluggish internet hits that massive file, and you just get the endless wheel of doom until the whole thing crashes. Experts flag this instantly. And look, it's not about crushing a developer's pride, right? It's just facing the facts. If the technology doesn't reliably boot up where it's actually deployed, it is completely useless to the teacher.
Moving right along to criterion 2, educational effectiveness. Because once we know the tech actually turns on, we have to ask if it's genuinely teaching anything.
Now, this is a really deep dilemma that comes up. Jong is this incredibly complex, uniquely Korean concept of deep emotional connection and affection. It's profound. So, can an AI chatbot actually understand and teach an intangible feeling like that? Or, as a creator, do you have to step back and say, okay, the tech can simulate the situation, but the actual feeling and interpretation, that has to be left to human interaction. It's a really fascinating line between the limits of our algorithms and the core essence of human education.
To maximize that educational impact, experts hammer home one massive strategy: selection and concentration. Remember, you only have 50 minutes. If you try to cram everything into that window, the kids absorb absolutely nothing. You have to be brave. You've got to strip away all the fluff, push those extra cool features into a homework link, and pour literally all your energy into the single most crucial activity for that specific lesson.
All right, let's look at criterion 3, cultural accuracy. This is a massive challenge when dealing with K-content.
Talk about walking a tightrope. Here is the ultimate dilemma. Say you're building a game to teach traditional Korean etiquette. Can you bend historical accuracy just to make it punchier and more fun for middle schoolers? Where exactly is the line between a wildly creative story and just straight-up historical distortion? Honestly, even the experts debate this one. But just recognizing that tension, that tug-of-war between authenticity and entertainment, is a huge step in maturing as an EdTech creator.
Plus, experts push back super hard against lazy stereotyping. If you want to show K-culture to the world and you just slap a hanbok and some taekwondo on the screen, you're kind of just reinforcing cliches, not really teaching culture. Instead, they want diverse context. So if you're teaching about food, don't just show one generic bowl of bibimbap, build a cultural map. Show the incredible, vibrant spectrum of regional kimchi varieties, or highlight modern fusion dishes. That is how you provide real, textured depth.
And finally, part 5, crafting a successful refinement plan. How on earth do you organize all this chaotic feedback? When you've got a mountain of conflicting notes, you run it through this 4-step priority filter. First, your must-fix items, factual errors or crashing code. Second, the much better if changed stuff, which is basically usability. Third, your fun ideas to maybe add next year. And fourth, things that need review because of budget or time. The secret sauce here? If you're on a tight 24-hour turnaround to fix your prototype, totally ignore steps 3 and 4. Just lock in and focus 100% of your energy strictly on steps 1 and 2.
And your plan cannot just be a vague wish list. It has to be incredibly specific. Here's a textbook example of doing it right. Instead of writing down, make it more culturally accurate, your action item is, fix the hanbok jacket length error using reference data from the National Folk Museum and regenerate the AI image. Boom. It's concrete, it's executable, and you can instantly verify when it's done. This framework basically forces you to prove that your changes actually worked. Your to-do list becomes a narrative of success. If your goal was boosting usability, your success metric is the exact percentage of students who can finish the activity without raising their hands to ask the teacher for help. You have to measure your impact, not just guess at it.
And this right here, this is the ultimate pro move, closing the feedback loop. Imagine going back to the expert who roasted your massive 3D file and telling them, hey, due to the internet issue you noted, we developed an offline worksheet as a backup. Wow. That shows them you didn't just survive their critique, you used it to build a real, bulletproof solution. It totally transforms criticism into collaboration. Which brings us to one last really provocative question to chew on. We've spent this whole explainer figuring out how to survive the super rigorous reality of a local classroom. But is that local friction just a domestic hurdle? Or does mastering these insanely strict criteria, nailing the tech, the depth, the focus, actually forge a product that is universally robust? Does surviving the local field actually prep K content perfectly for the massive, unpredictable global stage? I'll leave you to ponder that one. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer, and keep learning.